Welcome to day 76 of the 300 movie challenge. Today we watched the highest grossing film of September 2000, which was Remember the Titans.
Yay!
I will say, I was. Once you, learn the very, big opening premise of the movie, you, immediately know what's going to happen. Right? Like, during the entire movie. Like, every plot, almost every plot point is, pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But somehow I didn't care, and even though it's kind of cliched and it's nothing's really that surprising, I somehow got really invested, and I don't know why.
It's because of the acting.
Yeah. It's just... Yeah. You just get mesmerized by the entire thing and you just can't stop watching.
Yeah.
I guess here's some background. None of us are necessarily big sports fans.
Not at all.
No.
So going into this movie, I mean, I've watched this movie before, so I remember that I liked it and I still like it. But I think just going into this, I guess the first time I didn't expect to like it as much as I did when I first watched it. And then watching it again, I was like, oh yeah, I still like this movie.
Yeah, I always heard really good things about this movie, but I was always like, I don't know about a football movie, everything, but it ended up being a really amazing movie.
Yeah, yeah, and again, I really don't know, because if I try to, think about it, I can't, place any one thing that I think, oh, that one thing was really good, right? I can't think of anything. But for some reason, I like this, a lot. More than I had no expectation coming in, and I was actually, legitimately really surprised how much I like this movie.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I actually, teared up a little bit, twice. So... And I can't even remember what the scenes were. But it was I don't know, it's just somehow this got to be an emotional level, and maybe it's just where I am right now, in my mental state, because honestly some elements of this film kind of mimic certain things about what I'm going through. Not gonna elaborate on that. But I don't know, it's just and what's really interesting is it would have been really easy to have all of the white guys be bad, right?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
have it spend a long time where all the white teammates hate them, and only in till the final moments they accept them or something. But no, they're after a quarter of the movie, it's oh yeah, they're cool now. And it
Yeah.
moved past that. It focused on the other things after that. And
Which was really refreshing, I think,
yeah,
too.
the racial
Yeah,
component was
definitely.
definitely there, but it wasn't in terms of the actual character interactions, it wasn't that big of a focus, especially
Yeah.
near
Yeah.
the later part of it. It was all surrounding everything on the outside, but in terms of the individual interactions, it wasn't really about that. At least in terms of a heavy-handed way, it handled it really well. And that was, again, it was nice to see.
Yeah, it's kind of like how they want you to, what the coach kept advocating for, which is that they're playing football, and that's that. It doesn't matter what color skin anyone had, just as long as they
They
were
knew what
for
they were
the
doing.
team and they were going to play well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And the movie followed through with that promise, too.
They follow through with a lot of the emotional expectations you might have just going into what the premise is, because it's pretty much just about this school, and it's going to be integrated. So white students, black students are going to go to the same school, and then you see the riots in the very beginning, and how you have two sides where the black coach, he's visited by all of the African Americans in the community, and they're great, you're gonna be the head coach. And then you see on the flip side with the white coach that all of the parents of the players he had before are just we're gonna boycott the school, and he's just I don't think that's a good idea. I like the fact that the white coach is actually very cooperative, and he's actually a very nice person throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, it would have been really easy
Yeah.
to make him the bad guy.
It would have been
Yeah.
extremely easy to make him the bad guy, but he's actually technically the more rational one out of the two coaches because
Yeah.
they have different personalities and they have different like approaches to how they coach, and he's the more nurturing, compassionate one, while the other guy's the more like
Drill sword.
fired up one who's like, you gotta do it this way, you know?
And the movie doesn't really paint them as like one of them's right.
Yeah.
You
No.
know?
yeah.
It's
Like, they have plenty of disagreements, but then they always find a common ground in the middle.
Mhm.
Yeah. And it doesn't paint one side as the obviously like good side and one side as the obviously bad side.
right, which
either.
is generally like, you know, that's a big problem with a lot of films that deal with like race issues, is that it's like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
way too easy to just be like, these guys, you know, beat the bad guys, and it's like there is no bad guy, right?
No.
Yeah.
Even the other, you know, well, they don't really focus on the other teams, so you can't really talk about them. But you know, it's just really interesting how that's handled, and yeah, I don't know. It's just I was I don't know, I was just really surprised that I liked this so much. Again, like, as to be fair, it's a fairly cliched sports movie. But it just works. And maybe it's because I haven't seen that many of these movies, because I generally don't care for these kinds of movies, but I don't know. It seemed to work. Nothing really felt forced. The characters, again, like, on all sides, there were characters who made good decisions and bad decisions, and you know what I mean? It's like, you
Yeah.
wonder...
I love the bromance between the two captains.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was
RTP.
great.
Yeah, so that's great. Yeah, I don't know. It's just...
I don't have a bad thing to say. Like,
Right.
No,
there-
I don't have a bad thing.
Nothing.
Nothing
that
was
done
off, really.
wrong.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
The one like thing that's not really bad, but we just like kept wondering is like we were like to the white coach's daughter.
Oh yeah.
We're just like, what is wrong with this child? She's so
I mean,
bizarre the whole movie.
In the very beginning, we didn't realize that it was during the summertime, so we were just like, "Why isn't this little girl in school?" Because she's like obviously 10.
Just like following
then
all
it's
these
like-
football players around as like a 10-year-old. It's like, oh, it's the summer, okay, but still,
Yeah,
it's still
because
just
then
weird.
it was like first day of school, and
No, I just loved the moment where I was like, I expected her to like kick the guy his leg, and then like five seconds later she actually kicks the guy.
It wasn't even like
Yeah.
literally as you finished the sentence, she turned around and kicked him, and it was like, oh, it was like the perfect
funniest thing.
timing. But I don't know. I mean, like besides that, and again, that's like not bad. It's just kind of weird.
Yeah.
I am kind of curious to see like, because this is, you know, based on a true story. I'm curious, like, you know, exactly how true is it. It, you know, I would be curious to see. But yeah, I don't. It's kind of one of those things where it's like I agree with Maya in saying that like I don't see anything really negative. But I also
Yeah.
kind of agree with what I said before, where like there's not like one thing that I can point to that's like that was fantastic, right? It was just like somehow everything comes together.
I think
And it
what it
works.
does really well is that it handles the emotions really well.
yeah,
That's
It's-
true.
very good with that.
Yeah.
Because the thing is that it doesn't concentrate on, because again with like the 90s and everything, they concentrated so much on like visuals and everything, but with this movie, Valen's right, there's not one moment where you can be like, that is the defining moment.
Or
And
like,
that's-
or like, there's one character where it's like that guy makes the movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
nothing like that.
They didn't
just-
invest it all in that one scene or in that one character. They invested it in the entire movie and carried the emotion throughout the entire movie, which
Yeah.
I think how they handled the emotion and how they handled like getting people to get invested into the movie is the highlight of this whole movie and
It's very
everything.
well rounded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And it's
like,
not like mood swingy either.
yeah,
Uh huh.
Like a lot of other movies that will be like, is this suddenly a comedy now?
Yeah.
Like in Godzilla or whatever, where they suddenly became a comedy at the end, and we were like, "What?"
I
No,
guess that's
this
kind of the thing. Like, the chemistry between all of the people is really well done.
Yeah.
It's very
So
realistic.
So, yeah, it's so realistic, and you believe every moment that happens, like, between all of these people. And sometimes it's hard to keep track of who's who,
A little
because
bit.
A little bit,
it's
yeah.
such, like, a large cast, but
Yeah.
you can, like, see that they have, like, you know, a dynamic going, and it's really nice.
Actually, it's kind of funny. Like, I noticed, this is so minor. During one of, like, the moments where it's at the camp where they're, like, training or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're supposed to be doing, it was, like, a big huddle, but they were, like, kind of moving around. Like, kind of doing something, to kind of move in place. I noticed there was, like, one guy in the background that was just standing there.
Oh, I did see that!
And I was just like, hey, is the guy just standing there? So I thought that was funny, but I was like,
I wonder if it was done on purpose.
I don't know. It's because another thing to add, like, because again, I wasn't totally sure about the movie at first, because I personally am just really against, like, that sort of attitude in terms of, like, the coaching attitude, like that sort of, like, militaristic style, like, really bothers me.
Yeah.
In terms of, like, if you're treating people that way. So I was kind of like, yeah, like, the movie's interesting and I like the characters, but, like, that bothered me. And for some reason, like, it's just kind of, that bother just kind of went away. And again, I really don't know why. So it's just kind of, I don't know.
You got invested in the
I guess I just got invested in it, and I was like, you know what? It's not like it's not, it's a story. Of course, it's based on real events, but, from my perspective, it's a story. And even though there's that style, again, the movie doesn't paint it as, like, that's the style that saved everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't paint it that way. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just, very surprised that I like this as much as I did, and I recommend it a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, even if you don't like sports, like, all of us, we're not really big sports fans, but we all liked it, so.
I just find it kind of hilarious that even though this is a sports movie and everything, it's actually the better depiction of high school than the other high school.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, actually, you're right.
You know what else I thought of?
Huh?
I might be wrong about this, but I feel like the only other movie that had anything to do with sports that we've seen... Oh, wait, no, okay, Jerry Maguire existed. So,
Oh, yeah.
there was
right.
Jerry Maguire, but the only other one was Tin Cup.
Oh my god.
Both boring golf movies.
Jerry Maguire wasn't golf.
That was football.
Oh, whoops.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
forgot.
Yeah,
See?
Like,
Not very memorable.
I didn't even say it was super boring, but yeah, it definitely wasn't very memorable compared to
No.
other
This
stuff.
is definitely more memorable. Like,
Yes.
I even remembered a couple of the scenes when they came back, and I was like, oh yeah, I like this
I
scene.
actually didn't realize that I had watched one specific scene of the movie until I watched it, and I was like, oh wait, I've seen this before. It was the scene where the coach's daughter was staying at the other coach's house and everything.
Oh, when the brick was thrown in?
Yeah, when the brick was thrown. And I remember I saw that and I was like, oh no, this is a scary movie, so I switched to chat.
You just watched the wrong moment.
Yeah, I watched the wrong moment. I think I was like 7 or something. And I was like, no, this is scary.
Oh.
This is coming from the person that used to like hide behind the couch because I found that Bollywood fight scenes were scary. And if you watch a Bollywood fight, it is the most ridiculous thing in the world.
I mean,
Fair enough.
I thought, as a kid, Monsters, Inc. was scary. So...
It kind of makes sense though.
I mean, like, okay, like, on the very base level, I guess, but, like, it's pretty pathetic.
Because it's bright
Not
and
as pathetic as the one movie I've cried during.
It was Runaway Bride, wasn't it?
The one movie that I cried for was the first Pokemon movie when Ash
Oh,
died.
no, I know, like, a lot of people did.
No, but that's
not
the
that uncommon.
only movie I've cried for.
Well, how old were you when you saw it?
I don't remember.
What,
When did the
4 or
movie
5?
came out? because I
Like-
saw it in theaters, and then I started
Oh.
crying, and then mom took me out of the theater.
Well, then it was
But I don't-
probably like 3 or 4 or something. So that's completely understandable.
Makes sense.
Anyway, once we've gone from high school football to Pokemon, we know that we should stop.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But yes, watch this movie.
Yes,
Yeah.
please watch this movie.
Not the next one though.
No. Well,
The next one, I
Just
We'll
based
see.
on the title.
Yeah,
You'll hear our thoughts next time.
yeah.
bye.
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 I will say, good lord.
You just keep that in.
Okay.